Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah.
A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak, and more importantly, welcome back to some more of the regular subjects that I have put into play. Because, after all, I still don't really plan to go on for another gigantic crossover like in the Legacy of Supers that I've done in the last couple of months, but you never really know for sure. Because, well, first of all, I just like to simply get people excited about this one here, because after all, this one is in fact connected to a pretty big story of mine that is in fact true, and it will never not be true. Because the title down below confirms that I'm going to be talking specifically about seasickness. Basically an anomaly that has been plaguing sailors since the dawn of time. And the main reason for that as well, because the rhythm of the ocean itself, regardless of what spot in the world it may be in, and it's no doubt because of all that happens beneath the surface of the waters, the ocean surely can give everyone a strange feeling. The feeling of being sick to the stomach and all that weird stuff. But I tell you for sure, even I've had the opportunity to experience that whole entire thing. Seasickness is in fact no joke, because in May of 2014, that was a time when it got quite cold outside. Surprising as it may be. I mean, this was one of the first times before climate change became very apparent. But anyways, that right there was a time, 6 years ago and a half, where I basically boarded a 130-foot long Chinook on the pier of Milwaukee itself, bound to Lake Michigan and back. Basically, I spent a couple hours out there at sea, and essentially, there was a lot that I was pretty much going on up against. Seasickness was one really big thing out there, but we also had to worry about the high levels of water in the ways that the tide itself was pretty much just swashing back and forth. And it was no doubt because there was a lot of storm activity in the area recently at that time. So we pretty much just had to postpone that trip. But once I was able to get onto that Chinook, I could say from my own perspective that, well, the whole entire experience was sure a good thing. I mean, it was a really good experience right there. But you know what? The feeling of seasickness was certainly no joke as it is. There are special types of medication that can actually help to relieve this kind of pain out there while you're out in the sea itself. But of course, it's not always effective. There were a handful of other tips that I distinctively remember being told about as well, such as to stare at a solid, anchored object out there, such as a skyscraper, especially while we were heading out to sea in the first 2 or 3 hours of the entire voyage itself. And I could tell you from my own perspective that, well, that entire day in May of 2014 was certainly a big one in my lifetime. But of course, things would only continue to get better from that entire year, from that point on, especially throughout the whole remainder of 2014. But I will say that that whole experience right there with a 130-foot long Chinook and an entire voyage out there to sea, Lake Michigan, was quite an experience. One of a kind. I mean, y'all should go ahead and check it out if you have to. But you know what? I'm probably just going to stay right here, dry land, where many of us are more comfortable at. Not every single one of us can evolve to be highly aquatic individuals out there. So, of course, that is pretty much what that is. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.